Hello there guys and welcome back to my channel for yet another player ratings live stream following Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. As you can see, for the time being, I am still by myself. That will change later on, hopefully sooner rather than later. But sadly, our player ratings regular, CFC Pice, had to cancel on me last minute because of a family emergency. So I hope everything's okay there. But of course, he is very much so excused. But it's a tough one today. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, Yusuf, like I said, that's why CFC Pies ain't here. He will be joining us soon, don't worry, but I will have to do everything by myself to start with, so bear with me for just a second. Of course, if you're here right now, big up yourself. Massively appreciate everybody that is tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers. We're on the road to 10K. Let's get there as soon as bloody possible. That would be sick. But yeah, of course, if you want to become a member, there's a join button underneath. It gives you this little badge that, I definitely see all of your messages. No need for super chats and everything. Also, some other perks, just click the join button underneath and find out everything about it, or use the super chat function. Of course, bring some more, profit into the channel so we can upgrade certain things and stuff. So it's just help out the channel, really. Just support the channel is what I call that. I will get into everything there is to discuss in just a second. I just have to do a few more admin things while I usually let CFC's Pice talk. But at the end of the day, Chelsea won. Not won. Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. What a surprise. A Manchester United game against a top 6 side ends 0-0. They've only scored 1 goal against a top 6 side this season, and in the end it ends with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer crying and blaming bloody Frank Lampard for a referee's decision. Bro, Frank Lampard ain't even here anymore. Frank Lampard ain't been here in over a month. Don't know what you're waffling about. Mr. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ole's at the wheel. I don't know what wheel you're on, but you're on some dodgy shit. I'm telling you, bro. The man is on some dodgy shit. But any which way, let the man cry if he wants to cry. If he wants to cry, let the man cry. That's all I can say. But we will talk about everything. We will go through every individual player. Obviously, now that I'm by myself to start with, I will try to get through everything, and I will need your opinion as soon as possible. And I will try to interact with you, well, more because I'm by myself than when I'm obviously with someone. So make sure you're ready in the chat to drop me your ratings on someone so we can discuss it there. That'd be massively appreciated. Let me just send this message to obviously on the other side of the coin. Let me just set that up quickly. Let me just type that quickly. I'm really bad at typing while talking, so you can just bear with me a second. See, I was just going to read out what I'm typing now, which is not at all what I tried to say. I told you. I told you I'm just bad at this. Because... One second. All right, let me just see. Do I have anybody else that I can send this link to? Send it to Sadiq. Maybe he can hop on last second if he fancies it. Don't know if he's free though. But anyway, so here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. Where are the people? I don't know where the people are. They will be here. Still unbeaten. 1 CS down to get to Edison. 1 clean sheet down to get to Edison. Yeah, sure. Is Melly a CFC fan? Well, obviously she is. Otherwise, she wouldn't be here all the time. Loving me is all well and good, but she wouldn't be bothering with that now, would she? But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, big up yourself. Like Melly said, everyone smash that bloody like button. Ideally, just right now, because why the hell not? Why on earth wouldn't you do that? Even Haaland wouldn't be able to score for a team like Chelsea. We don't create. Bro, we had a sitter. Just Ziyech didn't take it. I don't know what you're waffling about, to be honest. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, let me just get the banner at the bottom up. Let me just prepare that. Aspie, there you go. I just need to write, cancel the ratings from last time and write question marks there. Then you will see the thingy at the bottom of the screen in just a second. Let me just finish that. But of course, the game was a frustrating one, really. Like, it's just a typical game against Manchester United, isn't it? Like, we could have had so much more and we were the better team, but Manchester United came out and surprised us in the first half. I said this on the live review over on Blues Fans TV earlier. They surprised us. We didn't expect them to press us. And Tuchel didn't feel that the team that was, ideal to play against the pressing team. He wouldn't have used probably not Olivier Giroud, but definitely not Hakim Ziyech, Had we known that, they were going to press us and we would have space behind them, would arguably just need pace. So, yeah, we definitely would have set up slightly differently. But at the end of the day, what can you do? It is what it is. I guess it is what it is. Let me just finish this. It wasn't Alonso. Was Chilwell? Sorry for the wiggling in the what's it called? In the camera, in the screen, I'm just typing out there. So here we are. I think I've got everybody. So here we have everything on the bottom that we need. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Let me just hit it out. Let me just straight out from, let's just start from the bottom. Let's just start from the back, from the bottom, as we obviously have to do. With Edouard Mendy, of course, started in goal. Let me just get the lineup up quickly. Let's talk through that quickly. And obviously a little cheeky thing that obviously Lewis prepared. No, that's not the right one. Where's the other one? Lewis, where'd you put the other one? There it is. AC Penitentiary is filling up nicely. Obviously, it wasn't enough to get the dub today, but it's filling up nicely regardless. But anyways, no, that's the wrong game. Someone deleted this. All right. Lewis didn't get the lineup on it. Anyways, doesn't matter. You can see the lineup at the bottom. That's basically how we started. It wasn't a total surprise. Obviously, it was still a three at the back. Edouard Mendy in goal. Back three of Cesar Spilicueta. Christensen, obviously, with Thiago Silva still being out, and Antonio Rudiger. Ben Chilwell, though, started at left wing back. Callum Hudson-Odoi, again, at right wing back. And midfield two of Mateo Kovacic and N'Golo Kante rather than Jorginho. And then a front three of Hakim Ziyech, in my opinion, very surprisingly starting the game instead of Timo Werner. Not necessarily that Timo was dropped. I'm totally surprised and shocked by, or disappointed by, but the fact that it was Ziyech, I didn't expect. Mason Mount, of course, remained in the side, and Olivier Giroud arguably warranted another start after, obviously, the decisive and screaming goal against Atletico Madrid. But to start from the bottom, to talk through a couple of things, and yeah, Faldia, so big up yourself. Everybody, you just make sure wasting time for Pies to come faster. No, Pies ain't coming on, bro. Pies ain't coming on. He had a family emergency. That ain't happening today, sadly. That ain't happening today. Nothing we can do about that one. But the other side of the coin should be joining us. I keep forgetting his first name. That's my only issue. I do apologize about that. I don't know why my name is so big in that background there. Is not really a fan, I won't lie, but oh well. Can I get rid of this somehow? Can I get rid of this? General. Nope. Guests. Nope. It's just gonna have to do what we have to do in it. I don't really know why my name looks so weirdly big. But hey, we move. Nothing we can do about it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry if I'm kind of like waffling, but I have to do 15 things at the same time right now. I do apologize. But anyways, yeah, like I said, like I touched on already, Manchester United surprised Thomas Tuchel. They didn't play like he expected us to play, like he expected them to play, and he lined up in the way for that. They pressed us instead and made it difficult. They made it difficult for us to really play out from the back. Obviously, Kante has certain issues in terms of when he's on the ball, when he has to play out from the back and everything. And they targeted that. They pressed him specifically. That doesn't mean Kante was bad, but they still pressed him specifically. How much was my haircut? Are you having a go at my hair? You saying it looks all right. I'm telling you, I've had a mare of a day. Anyway. But anyways, let me continue. Where was I? Yeah. It didn't quite work. They targeted N'Golo Kante in the second half, much less so. And the first half, there wasn't really much happening. Obviously, there was the whole handball claim, which I'll get to in just a minute. Don't worry about it. I will get to the handball claim, or obviously VAR and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his interview and everything. I will get to it. Don't worry. I will get there. But is that right? Yes, it is. Nothing really was happening in the first half, right? We obviously, the one big moment we had was a beautiful Callum Hudson-Odoi cross from the right, obviously as the right wing back, and Olivier Giroud missing the ball by like this much, but this much, I'm telling you, just about didn't get on the end of it to put us 1-0 up, but then only in the second half, Ziyech missed the sitter, and then Manchester United had a couple of chances, and late on, obviously a Mason Mount counter-attack, and then one or two moments where Timo Werner should have done a bit better, but it was cagey. It was definitely cagey. And we will start with the back. At the back. We will start with the ratings. Let's start with Edouard Mendy. Everyone that's watching right now, Faldiasso, of course, did already. Everyone that's watching right now, drop your rating for Edouard Mendy down in the chat. I will probably agree with Faldiasso. I will give him a 7. No, actually, I will give him an 8 because he made a few very good saves. He made a few very, very good saves. but he also let them bounce in the middle sometimes. He let them parry in the middle. But it was the shot late on that thankfully didn't fall to a Manchester United player, but it was the cross that he tried to catch and he kind of rolled over him and he didn't kind of manage to grab a hold off, which was disappointing. So I think I'm going to give him an 8. But obviously, if you guys are saying 7, I think I'm going to stick with the 8 for now. But now, you know what? That just makes me think, let me give him a 7.5. And obviously, if he comes on later, that can only be a positive as well. That can only be a positive as well. I did see a message here. What did he say? Yeah, he should be on fairly soon. He should be on in about 15 minutes. So, that's all good. That's all good. But yeah, let's see when Miz comes on. Obviously, a lot of you guys will know Miz, a lot of you won't. That was a big save. Remember the McTominay save? Yeah, it was a big save. It was a big save. But I still think he parried too many into the middle, and that was really dangerous, and he was lucky to get away with that. And that takes it down again from, say, a 9, probably, if it wasn't for those two very dodgy, parries. Even though he still saved the ball, but still should do a little bit better with that. But anyways, let's continue with the back three. And the back three were absolutely outstanding today. None of them 3 are going to get a low rating. If any of you will give any of these 3 a low rating, we're having words. Because these 3 were absolutely incredible. All of them. Let's start with Azpilicueta. Put it in the chat what you think Azpilicueta's rating should be for the game today. Put it in the chat right now. I think I'm going to go with an 8. I think I'm going to go with an 8 for Aspi, maybe even an 8.5. I think I'm going to go with an 8 for Aspi. Put it in the chat what you would say. Put it in the chat what you would say. Everybody, 7.5, Aspi 8. Okay. Ismail saying Aspi 8. CCIT saying 7.5. Fair. Aspi 8. Jester saying 6.5. Bro, Jesters, first of all, welcome. Glad to see you. Hope you're well. Jesters, do you know what, bro? Do you want to hop on this? Do you want me to drop you the link somewhere and you'll come on? Drop it in the chat if you want to come on. Drop it in the chat if you want to come on. So much energy from Aspi. Yeah, I think Aspi was brilliant, but maybe we'll have Jesters on in just a second and we'll discuss why. Too many missed passes. I disagree. I know what you're saying, but that was mostly down to his options. You're not wrong that obviously Rudiger was a bit better at that. All right, I'll drop you the link on Twitter. I follow you on Twitter, don't I? So I should be finding you there quite comfortably, realistically. Let me just get Mr. Jester on, who is, of course, actually called Jared. But, tis what it is. Have a new face on the channel again. Why don't we? There you go. Send you the link. We'll have Jester/Jared come on very, very soon. Rajiv with the super chat. Big up yourself. I think we definitely missed Alonso on left wing back. I disagree. I politely disagree. I actually think Chilwell had a good game. He didn't start off perfectly well, but I think overall he had a good game in the end. I do see where Justice is coming from with this, but I appreciate the donation a lot, Rajiv. We really do appreciate it, bro. I think because of... I still think Aspi deserves an 8. If it wasn't for the passing, I would give him an even higher rating, if you get what I mean. Because I think defensively we're just brilliant. Obviously, I'll have a discussion with Jester about it in just a second. Yeah, Jared, I just messaged you on Twitter. And there you go. And yeah, we'll just continue this chat. Let me go to Andreas Christensen. Absolutely brilliant. Andreas Christensen was absolutely incredible from top to bottom. He was amazing, in my opinion. Let's see if Jared, would you? Hey, bro. First of all, how are you? I hope you're well. Would you prefer for me to call you Jared or Jester?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, there you go. I'll just go with whatever feels right in the moment.
Yeah, I have 2 ex-wives, so anything above asshole is good.
There you go. Obviously, I was going to talk about Christensen already, but let's get back to Aspi. Why you would rate him, in my opinion, so harshly? Because I do agree some of his passing maybe could have been better and should have been better, but I still think other than that, he was so good that even if you take points off for the passing, he still should be around an 8. Hence why I'm going to give Christensen even higher rating.
Well, first of all, I set the bar lower if we don't win overall, because it's not a win, it's a draw. And I'm not a fan of draws. It must be the generational thing, but I was always taught that draw is a loss. It just packaged a little bit better. It's like good marketing, right?
Yeah.
So I set the bar lower. I thought he missed a bunch of passes. He wasn't as clinical as he usually is with his passing. I thought he was a little off today. He played good defensively, but again, I don't rate people as high because we drew, right? And although if we can move on to Christensen, he completed 100% of his passes, 100%.
Yeah.
So I could see giving him a 7 to 7.5.
Yeah, before we continue, because we obviously need to find a bit of a middle ground in terms of rating. Because a draw for me, it depends on the kind of draw, whether I rate it as a good thing or a bad thing. And I will rate all of our football players rather lowly, but I will rate our defenders quite highly because I still think we adapted very well to dealing with Manchester United's threats. I know they haven't scored against the top 6 side other than Spurs, but still, they were a threat. And in particular, our back three dealt with them incredibly well. And I don't think we should underrate that just because the forwards didn't score.
No. I agree, but I don't. They played great on defense, but in Aspie's position in this formation, he is the one that him and Rudiger are allowed to get further forward and to try to create in the overload, right? Because they're the extra man in the overload. So for me, I didn't see he wasn't as sharp as he usually is. You could usually say he's going to have 1 or 2 key passes a game. He's going to play a good ball in for somebody. And whether that's down to the forwards not making the runs, because the forwards we started really, they're not going to make those runs in behind. Giroud's not going to make those runs. Mount's not going to make those runs. Ziyech is not going to make those runs. So maybe it was the people in front of him. For me, I can't give him an 8 because an 8 means you did something fantastic to me.
Yeah, so if you want to say,
defensively, yes, he played very well. He shut Rashford down. But if you go listen to the United stand people, they slated their players today. I think the only person
they didn't try hard enough.
Well, they sat back, but they gave Rashford like a 5.
Yeah, well, wait for my forward ratings. Trust me.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll meet in the middle there.
Hey, I will agree and concede in terms of I'll lower it down to a 7.5. I'm not going to go as low as a 6.5, but I will concede and lower it a bit. Do you agree with the Mendy one, or would you give him a lower rating as well?
No, I thought Mendy played well. I mean, he had to make that one save that McTominay put on target. I think the new thing is with the new balls and how much they move when you strike them. Because they're made out of different materials now, they're lighter. When they're knuckling like that, they could dip at any point in time. Yeah. So I understand why he parried those, because he wasn't confident in catching them. I'd rather have him parry them than try to catch him and go through his hands. That's happened to me playing goalkeeper. That's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah. No,
so
I agree. He definitely had to parry them, but there is obviously, you as a goalkeeper, if you've played that a number of times, you will know it's important to not parry down the middle. And he did that a couple of too many times for my personal preference. And another new face on the channel has arrived. I hope he's ready. Mr. Miz, Mr. The other side of the coin. My brother, how are you doing? It's been a long time coming. I hope you're well.
Yeah, man, I'm all right, man. I've been buzzing to come to your channel. It's us content creators. We've got content like left, right, and center, and all at the same time. So it's very difficult. But I'm so glad that I've just finished off my stream, and I'm happy to jump on yours, man. How's everyone doing?
Well, we're good. We're good. Just as come in to lower a few of my ratings for the defenders. He said, "No, he's not having it. We just got a draw to him. It's basically a loss." So I'm like, fair enough. So we were just talking about Mendy and Aspie. We didn't get any further yet. So that's that. Jester was giving Aspie a 6.5. I was giving him an 8. I conceded. All right.
Wow.
See, he said the forward passing wasn't there. And I said, fair enough. All right, I'll give him 7.5, even though I still think an 8 is fair. But, when you do it with some other people, you have to, find a middle ground.
True.
Exactly. So where would you have rated Aspie?
I think not just Aspie. I think Aspie, Rudiger, and Christensen all been superb in that match defensively, which kind of tells you the story of the match. that none of the attacking players are getting talked about because it was a 0-0. I would have to agree with you, Laurenz, in terms of Aspie. For me, he was an 8 as well. I mean, his primary role isn't to play the key passes through the middle. His primary role is to ensure that defensively players like Rashford and Bruno Fernandes or Dan James are sort of kept in check. And I think he's done a very good job against Rashford, I must admit, throughout that match. I don't think, especially when Callum Hudson-Odoi went off, I don't really think Reece James sort of gave him that much cover defensively. So there was a lot of times where he was sort of doing it all by himself. So I have to agree with you, Laurenz, it was an 8, but I do understand let's come to a middle ground and perhaps it's a 7.5.
I actually have to disagree with you. I thought Callum didn't give him much cover in the first half, and Reece gave him more cover in the second. I think Reece is better defensively because he's actually a right back and not a winger playing wing back.
Obviously, I'm not sure how exactly Miz meant it, but I would have said it in terms of how much I expect from Reece defensively. He didn't help him out as much more than Callum did as I would expect, if that makes sense. So obviously, he helped him out more, but not as much as I would expect in comparison to Reece James and Callum Hudson-Odoi.
And I feel like Reece James's pace as well. There were a few times where he was sort of jogging back to retreat when the situation was getting pretty heated, and Aspie would cut in. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not having a bash at Reece James. I think Reece James as a right back is far better, but in the right wing back spot, I don't think he's very comfortable. Like going forward, he's not utterly comfortable. Moving backwards, he's not utterly comfortable. So yeah, it's exactly what you said, Laurenz. That's I expect a little bit more from Reece James.
Fair. But before we get to Reece James and Callum Hudson-Odoi and that entire debate, I guess, let's go to Andreas Christensen. Before I let jesters, bring us down back to earth, let me just start with a bit of ACHive. As Lewis always says it, the ACHive is real. I have fully joined the party. I'm telling you, I have joined the bloody party, and I'm not going anywhere. The man was immense. Like Lewis would have put it there, the penitentiary is filling up nicely.
That's beautiful, man.
You got to put Bruno in there too, though. Bruno's got to go in there too.
You should put him in there. I guess he's in Kante's one. Do you know what I mean? Fair play.
Him in solitary.
Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, Christensen was amazing. Jared Jester, Miz, by the way, Jester is his online name, but he's actually called Jared, hence why I'm going to call him both things. I get confused. Anyway, where was I? I think he was brilliant. And Jared told us earlier that he actually completed 100% of his passes, and it at least felt like he probably won 100% of his aerial duels as well. I can barely think of a single thing that I can actually reduce his points for. Even the
interceptions as well, Laurenz. Interceptions. He intercepted so many.
I can give you the statistics real quick.
Go on. Drop us some stats, bro.
Why is this in? Good Lord. It switched to Arabic. I'm trying to read this in Arabic now. What is going on with this thing? English, please. Good Lord. Oh, there it is. Now it's in English. Defensively. And when I go to defensive, it goes to Arabic. He had 1 total tackle, 3 interceptions, 2 clearances, 3 block shots. Passing, Christensen, 1 key pass, 73 passes at 100% pass completion rate. I mean, what else can you say?
Exactly. Like I said, I don't think there's much you can, take points from him, though. And like the one thing I want to mention, that Mason Greenwood shot around the 60-minute mark that went just wide off the top left-hand corner. I think if that comes in close enough to go to actually hit the target, Christensen blocks that because he was very close of getting his foot to the shot in the first place. So to be honest, when I think about it like that, you could even talk about a 10, but that's a bit ridiculous. So I'm going to say 9, but hey, you can't do more. To some extent, you are limited in what you can do. Obviously, he can score more, but the guy hasn't scored a single goal for us. He's never going to score. Maybe it's going to be on the last match day. If we ever win the league and we already have it sealed up, then we're going to give him the penalty like we did to Makelele back in the day. But other than that, the man's not going to score. I don't think I can, deduct any points from him. But I'm going to go for a 9. Jared, hit me. You said something like 7.5 in your initial rating, or would you go higher?
Well, that's because I had Aspie at a 6.5. So to
Okay.
me, if you have him at a 7.5, I guess it's only fair to put him at an 8.5 then.
Fair. Miz, what about yourself?
Yeah, you know what? For me, 9 is like a phenomenal performance. That's like, the man was just, ate up the opposition forwards and was just dynamic from the back. Don't get me wrong, I'm all on board with the Andres Christensen hive. The man, Lewis. I believe everything that he's saying about Christensen. Now, he's been believing Christensen for a very, very long time. So for me, I think he had a fantastic game. For me, he's man of the match, I'd say. If I look at the both games, for me, he was probably the best player in the whole pitch, probably along with Rudiger, I'd say. But for me, Christensen, I give him an 8.5. I think that's being decent. 8.5 for me.
Okay, so with what both of you guys have said, Jesters, can you turn some light on because I can't see you anymore?
Okay, hold on 1 second. Yeah, I can turn some light on.
Or just your screen light was fine before as well, but now I just couldn't see you at all anymore. So I'm gonna get on board. I will try to find a middle ground. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Brilliant. I will go for the middle ground. I said 9, Miss said 8.5, just said 7.5 to 8. So I'm gonna go with 8.5. I would agree with you guys. Let's find the middle ground. And then I guess the next guy is Antonio Rudiger, and that's why obviously in terms of defensive ability probably was equally as nearly perfect as Christensen. Aspie had the one moment where him and Reece just didn't have the communication and Shaw got in behind them, and then that led to McTominay's chance, which is why from my ratings, I would have already given Aspie a little bit below the other two. But I still, like just I said earlier, Rudiger is in a position where he has a bit more freedom to go forward. And hey, he tried to use it at times. Man went on a run and tried to score all by himself, which fair play. But in the end, he kind of stopped and backed out of it. But again, very good. If we gave Christensen an 8.5 and Aspie a 7.5, I would give Rudiger an 8 myself. But let me know where you sit on that, Jared. Let me go with you first.
Yeah, I think he was better than Aspie. Not as good as Christensen. So 8 sounds fine to me. If we're going, yeah, I'll go 8 because he did have that nice run, and I thought he brings some character to our defense. See, he brings the toughness.
For sure.
He had it in for James all game. That poor kid spent more time on the ground than he did upright. So I think I like Rudiger a lot in the left center back position.
For sure. Like he has done particularly well. Like obviously the own goal wasn't ideal, was a misunderstanding between him and Mendy. Shouldn't just be Rudiger that's blamed for that, but still obviously shouldn't score an own goal. But ever since then, in particular, he's been brilliant. Pretty much every time he stepped on the field. But Miz, and by the way, gentlemen, the link to Miz's channel is down in the description below. So subscribe to him immediately. Help the man reach 4,000 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, and hey, even though his road is a bit longer, the road to 10K is still real. So subscribe and help the man get there, just like myself. But yeah, Miz, what are you saying? Would you agree with an 8 for Rudiger? Yeah.
Firstly, thank you, my man, for that shout out. I'd have to agree. If I give Christensen an 8.5, and we all agreed with that, and I said that Rudiger is probably very close to Christensen's performance. His barnstorming run in the first half, how he just went straight through. I'm like, Rudiger, what are you doing? It looks pretty good. That run was fantastic, and then he came out with some really good tackles as well, some interceptions. Yeah, there were one probably time where I think it was Dan James or maybe Greenwood that sort of caused a bit of an issue for him on that left side. But overall, I think he was immense as well alongside Christensen. So for me, 8, 100% agreed.
Fair. I can't even remember how I lined them up today. I went for the midfielders before I went for the wing back. So let's talk through the two DMs, I guess, first. And I guess because he's the slightly more defensive of the two, let's go through N'Golo Kante, who had a brilliant, like even better than he already was against Southampton performance defensively. But I'll see whether you both agree or not. But for me, so much so, Manchester United even targeted him in the first half with their press to make sure that we don't pass out from the back. The exact same as once we brought Pulisic on for Giroud, they were like, okay, now let's not play high anymore so they can use the space. And they dropped immediately as Pulisic came on. and made the whole sub kind of pointless. So that was a little bit disappointing on that end, but I guess fair play. You have to, give credit where credit's due. But Kante, brilliant defensively, honestly. Some of the interceptions, some of the last-ditch tackles, even in the box, one from Rashford where he cleared out for a corner in the last second. Brilliant, honestly brilliant. But some of the passing, some of the touches are just shocking again. Like that's just Kante, and I've said this on Blues Fans TV earlier. If you manage to put Kante and Jorginho into one player, you'd have the best midfielder in the world. But sadly, like it is, you have Kante, who's amazing defensively, but kind of dreadful at the moment, at least on the ball, and Jorginho is just the opposite way, and it's just disappointing, and it's difficult to always find the best solution for our midfield too. But for me, defensive, just on a defensive kind of part of the game, I would give him a 9, and going forward, I would give him nothing more than a 5 at best, probably even a 4. So I would give an overall rating of 6.5 to 7 max. I'm not going to go higher than that. Let me go with Miss first, but I really want to get your boys' thoughts as well.
Laurenz, honestly, this is one place I've seen you sort of tweet about this quite a few times, and I'm 100% in agreement with you. I had this particular individual named Kishan on my stream just a moment ago, and he said it perfectly because we talked about the 6-6, and he said that, have you noticed in that game where Kovacic was a few times where he was attacked by 2 or 3 Man United players, Kovacic seems very, very solid, in tight position and wriggles himself out. But Kante was never there as an option for Kovacic to lay the ball 1-2 and move out and really break through the midfield. Whereas every time you see Jorginho play with Kovacic, Jorginho is following Kovacic around. Jorginho is always in and around Kovacic to have that pass there. And that's the thing. Kante, once again, to the live chat, first of all, please smash that like button. You're about close to 60 people. Get that up to at least 60 likes, please. But to the live chat, I just want to say nothing against Kante, but Kante, when we play possession-based football, is not, as Laurenz said, he wouldn't give him more than a 4 or a 5. Defensively, the way he tracks back, the way he intercepts, the way he breaks down play, fantastic. But I think the reason why Man United forced the play so much from the get-go, the way they were pressing, I kind of expected that they were going to sit back. But I think they looked at our team and saw that it's Kante and Kovacic, and they thought, we can actually get at this particular pivot because this pivot doesn't really operate. And Kante is more of a counter-attacking player. He's more of a defensive player. So they thought if we can get at them because we want to hold possession, they could create a lot of havoc. So, Laurenz, I'm with you, man. 100% believe Kante is a fantastic player, but he doesn't have the right sort of partner with him at the moment to get the best out of him. For me, it's Kovacic and Jorginho, and I have to agree that I wouldn't give any more than 6.5 to Kante in this particular game, purely based on his defensive qualities. Nothing going forward.
Fair enough. Like I said, I think it's fair. Obviously, Flyers has put in the chat here saying, I don't think it's fair to rate Kante's offensive performance because it's not his game. But Flyers, I'm sorry, that's not how football works. If you play midfield, that's part of your job. Like for centre backs, that's why I was maybe thinking, okay, I get where Jared is coming from with the Aspie criticism, but I'm still thinking you still played as a centre back. Even more like sometimes I even say first and foremost, like that's why when people give the whole Alonso debate, but he gets us a goal, like that's all well and good, but he's a fullback, so his first and foremost is to be good defensively. And obviously as a left wing back, that's slightly different, but in terms of proper left back. And you can't say that for a midfielder. I'm sorry, you absolutely can't say that for a midfielder. But go on.
And also, Laurenz, I was just going to add to that. You're right. You can't say for a midfielder, especially when we're playing possession-based football. He has to add going forward. If we were playing defensive and counter-attacking, fair enough. But we have the ball. I think the stats was something around 60% possession in the second half. So he's got to do a lot more, man.
For sure. Jared, what do you think? What would you rate N'Golo Kante today?
Boy, we're not in sync today at all, are we? I thought he was the best defensive player other than Christensen on the field. 7 total tackles.
I agree with that.
4 interceptions, 2 clearances, 1 block shot. Passing, 59 passes, 81.4%. So not exceptionally high. Let's see what he did offensively. 1 shot, 1 key pass, 1 dribble. I thought that out of the 2 midfielders, defensively, he was the better one.
Oh, for sure.
I don't like the pairing. I call it Novicic when they pair them together because I don't want to see it again. They don't work together because Kovacic is the more box to box when you play in a double pivot, and he can't be that with Conte because Conte doesn't sit. So, you know what? I'm going to leave it to you to give Conte a score because I would score him higher than that because I thought that he did a lot to shut down their midfield. So I'll let you guys score Conte.
No. Let me know what you would rate him, and we'll find like an overall rating. Because, like I said, I would go 6.5, 7. Miz went 6.5. So what would you say?
So I thought he was closer to an 8 because of his defensive performance.
Fair. And no. Like that's totally fair. You know, we're all.
So we go with 7, maybe.
Yeah. I was going to say that as well. And a lot of the chat, to be fair, have agreed with that as well. So I think an overall 7 is probably fair. And to be honest, if we're going to like obviously split kind of the game in two in terms of defensive and offensive performance, I think when you get to Kovacic, he had that one tackle on Dan James quite late in the game where he just flew into it, basically ruined Dan James, but also just tackled it straight to the Man United player. So I'm like, well, that was pointless. So it's like, you tried, but that didn't work. It's weird because I would probably in the end give Kovacic a 7 as well, but just for different things, if that makes sense. But at the end, I also feel like, where was our midfield that good to give them 7s when we played 0-0 and created like 2 real chances all game? Let's say 3 if you count the cross that Giroud almost got on the end of. We had like 3 real chances. Is that enough from a midfield? I don't know. But I put it to you guys first before I throw out my final decision in terms of a rating. Let me go with you first, Jared. What about Kovacic? You said defensively, of course, he was much better than Kante, as you would expect. But on the other side of the pitch, he was much worse than Kante, as again you would expect. But I thought they probably even each other out, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. But what would you say?
Yes. So Kovacic offensively, 2 shots on target, 1 key pass, 4 dribbles.
But it doesn't count like that. That were the easiest saves De Gea will ever have to make.
Okay, but they were still on target. I mean, that's the first number one step to scoring is the shot has to be on target, right?
That is
so
true.
he had 4 dribbles. Defensively, like I said, they're night and day for me. One was better on offense, one was better on defense. Neither one of them I thought were great at passing today. Although COVID did have 70 passes at 95.7%. So I'll go with a 7 because they didn't create a whole lot to our forwards, but considering the forward line in the first half, you really can't expect much from them. So I'd go the same score, 7.
Fair. Miz, what about yourself?
I see
the chat having a go at us. The chat are more tending towards 8s, and even for Kante, they would have rated them much higher. I'm like, bro, what ratings do you give out when we win 4-0? Do you just give everyone a 12?
12s,
like
15s.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
That's why I rate really low if we don't win.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like I've said this after the Atletico game as well. I know we got that 1 goal, but other than that, it really wasn't much different from today. Other than that, it was arguably a better opponent. But because it was such a big opponent, that raises it, in my opinion. Plus, obviously, the bigger the game, and it was a big game today. But Miz, what about you for a Kovacic rating?
It's interesting. Let's address this live chat, right? Did we really control the midfield? I don't know if we really controlled that midfield, right? I mean, we were
from time to time, I guess.
Yeah, time to time we were good. Kovacic in tight spots, wriggled out at times, but there wasn't the classic sort of combination that we saw with Kovacic and Jorginho. Kante, as you've said, Laurenz, that defensively he did a job, but when he had the ball, he gave away the ball a couple of times. He won it back himself, but giving away the ball shouldn't be forgotten either. His passes weren't, from that position, both Kovacic and Kante, I don't think both of them really created any sort of excellent passes to the inside forwards or the wing backs. You can sort of argue how much movement did we have up front, but overall, come to think of it, Laurenz, I'm sort of tending to agree with you that how did we end up giving 7s to Kante? Probably both of them probably deserve a 6.5, and I think that's a decent score. It was a 0-0. We didn't win the match, and we didn't control the midfield often enough to warrant these players to get a 7, which for me feels like a very, very decent performance, 7. So if we were to look at what we would have given these players had we actually controlled the match, 10s? It's very difficult to get 10. So I think from that perspective, live chat, I hope you guys sort of weigh that into proportion, that it's a 0-0. We didn't really control the midfield. We were decent. We didn't lose. So for me, Laurenz, look, since we gave Kante a 7, I think we're going to have to stick with a 7 for Kovacic, because bringing him down to 6.5 would then mean we'd have to reassess Kante as well.
For sure.
Like I said,
go on.
I had to give him at least something in line with the defense, because other than holding out a poor offensively challenged Man U, of course Christensen would be the standout because he didn't put a foot wrong the whole game. But if you had those, to me the scores for the defense are actually a little high too for me. Again, because I take it down a level when we don't win, and that's just the way I rate. So I'm trying to stay in line with what we gave the defense, and I didn't think that Kante and Kovacic were that much worse than our defense, relatively speaking.
But you'd also have to think about going forward as well, right? Like that's where the balance sort of comes in. Defensively, fine, they were good, but moving forward, how good were they? But
our double pivot is never meant to be very great moving forward. They haven't been yet. Do you see any assists coming out of the midfield in any of our games?
Yeah. But there is more to offensive play. There is part of it is playing past the press. And that's what we struggled with all of the first half. And we would have done better at it had we had Jorginho instead of Kante.
But he wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there. And that's why I lowered Kante's rating down in terms of where you said you were more thinking towards an 8. Obviously, I know with us overall rating high, I get it. But still, to me, it's like ACHive. I don't know who AR is, whether you meant to say AC, but fair enough. Ridiger, I guess. But nah. Well, what did I tell you? Wait, how did Mendy get the same as Aspie? Yeah, maybe we'll have to. Well, I did that kind of by myself before, Justice joined, and then he told me to basically downgrade Aspie. So maybe I'll have to downgrade Mendy as well. We'll see. We'll get to that at the very end. I mean, yeah, of course, there is a point to be made, Bruno and everything. But Bruno is not good against any top 6 team. So does that say that much? I don't know.
You go clip this one. Bruno is a fraud. He does well against his level of opponents that he played in Portugal. When he steps up, never does anything. Okay, he's a fraud.
Sure, but Ziyech couldn't even do it against Barnsley.
Wait till we get to his rating.
No, we'll get there. And we're joined by another guest. Look at this, Mr. Vitmus. My bro, how are you? Hope you're well.
I'm okay, man. What's up?
Yeah, good. We're good. We're just fighting our way through the player ratings because we have some different opinions here. Just quickly, we'll get back to the defense after with your opinions. Just quickly, Kante and Kovacic, what rating are you giving them both?
I think they both deserve like a 7, because even though Kante wasn't at his best in the first half, but if we should give him an overall rating for his performance and how well he did in winning the ball back for us, some crunching tackles, things like that, we have to give him a 7. Kovacic the same. I think the only thing why I would give him a 7 and not higher, because he didn't made any of those super runs like he did in the previous games. Maybe this was not one of his best since Tuchel came in, so not a lot of pressure on him. But yeah, I think 7 is okay.
Yeah. That's what we ended up with anyway, didn't we? So can't really complain too much. I guess next, because the more defensive player first, I go with Ben Chilwell. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe all 3 of you will strongly disagree with me. I thought after the first 20 minutes, he struggled a bit, but I think we have to let him off for that. He hasn't played in like 3 weeks. After that, I thought he was very good. He was defensively good, very rarely got beaten. Obviously had that crucial heading interception after their counter-attack when Kante got kind of pushed by Rashford, but also that's what you expect when the guy's behind you, so make sure it doesn't happen. But Chilwell did very well to intercept that, otherwise we're 1-0 down that early on already. And he assisted our biggest chance of the game. So I thought Chilwell was actually very good after the first 20 minutes. I'll let you guys discuss it. I will go with me first. But like I said, I think he was very good. I had a lot of people already telling me I would have been so much better with Alonso and this and that and blah, blah, blah. It's the waffle that everyone comes out with all the time. But I thought he had a good game.
Look, I'm a bit mixed about Chilwell. Look, when I saw him in the starting lineup, I was happy because I wanted Chilwell to start in this particular game. I just felt that, every time Alonso plays, I understand why he plays because of his clutch abilities to score goals. I don't think we really select Alonso for defensive abilities or his pace or his athletic abilities. I think we really select him for his clutch abilities up front to score and know. He knows his ways around the box very well. I think a bit better than Chilwell, probably a lot better than Chilwell. But I get equally frustrated when Alonso plays. So I was happy to see Chilwell play. And I have to agree with you, Laurenz, in the sense that defensively he was very good today. Offensively, he did create that one chance where it fell for that cutback and it fell for Ziyech. Unlucky how he didn't finish that. That should have been a goal. But where I disagree with you, Laurenz, is I need a lot more from our left wing back, because when you think about if we think about we play with 5 attackers and 5 defenders, that's the philosophy that we have with the 3 at the back and 2 double pivot. That's sort of 5 that holds the defensive shape. Then you have the 2 wing backs and the 3 up front. So it's when you don't have the one side of it consistently helping out the attack, that kind of takes away a bit of a game. Similarly, what we saw with Callum Hudson-Odoi being substituted at halftime because of injury, Reece didn't really give us that impetus anymore on that right side. Yes, there was that one good cross for Timo Werner, which I think Lindelof intercepted at the end anyway. But
it ended up in a goal kick, so maybe he didn't. I don't know.
No, he did.
It was a wrong. Perhaps. Yeah. At the end of the day, Chilwell, for me, he needs to produce a lot more. He's a £50 million purchase for us, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Like, I expect a lot more from him than Alonso going forward. He's been known for his crosses and his abilities to chip in with goals and whatnot. I want him to be more bold. Another point in my stream, one of the lads made was that he doesn't have the same intensity as the likes of Robertson, Tierney, or Reguilon. Can you imagine, Laurenz, Sergio Reguilon in that left wing back position? I think provides a lot more going forward. Defensively, I don't know. Probably Chilwell is better defensively. But as I said, if you're going with the wing backs, you need to provide consistently up front. So for me, I think 6.5, man.
I think it's an interesting one because I certainly see where you're coming from with the 5 defenders, 5 attackers. I would argue that it's 4 defenders, 4 attackers, because we have one more offensive wing back and one less offensive wing back, which is why in a defensive shape we often end up in a 4-4-2. Because you have the one wing back that pushes high, in particular when it's Hudson-Odoi.
Lopsided. It's lopsided.
And like even back in the day when you had the Ashley Cole part that was bombing up the pitch, and then the right side was staying a bit, or when you had it with Ashley at left back and he was staying a bit, and the right side was bombing forward a bit. Obviously, that is in a back 4, so a bit different. But essentially, it's still a little bit like that. And sure, I think we all agree that Alonso maybe gives us a little bit more going forward in terms of goal threats. Is his crossing better than Chilwell's? No. But does that mean Chilwell's is great? No. Do you know what I mean? Just Alonso's is even worse, basically. But yeah, I would push for 4.7 for Chilwell. But I will let a word in for Vitmus. Let me say that. But what Melinda said, apparently Tuchel said that the Hudson-Odoi sub was tactically not in terms of injury. If that's true, I think that's a very outrageous substitution to make.
That is.
Yeah, especially because it didn't work, like realistically. Like, you can't say in hindsight it didn't work. And, okay, Ziyech was better in the second half, fair play, but his first half was so bad, he should have never come on that pitch again for the second half. But we'll get to that. Vitmus, rating on Chilwell.
Yeah, I mean, just like I did on Conte, it wasn't the best game, but he, as you said earlier, he started off poor, but he got into the groove of the game, and I think I would give him 7, just based on the fact that he did defend well. I think Manchester United, they defended okay enough to make it hard for Chilwell to probably get in behind that team, but I don't think he was that awful to give him less than a 7. I think he made some very good defensive tackles and things like that. So I would agree on a 7. And just to add to the Callum Hudson-Odoi change, I mean, I understand that Hudson-Odoi was our best player in that first half going forward on the right wing back, but I think what Tuchel did was trying to put more defensive stability at the right side because of Callum Hudson-Odoi going forward and taking on people's. He didn't want to get caught out, so he wanted a balance. Not like Reece James was better going forward, but just enough to go forward and give a good defensive strength to the back three on that side.
I agree, but if Callum could have continued, in my opinion, should have brought Reece for Ziyech and put Hudson-Odoi further up.
Yes, that's the change I thought he was going to do when I saw Reece James warming up, because Ziyech was poor in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get to that super chat, let me just get to Jess's opinion or rating of Chilwell before we continue after that. But I appreciate the donation a lot.
First of all, I got a question. Who was Chilwell's offensive partner in the first 65 minutes of the game?
Offensive partner?
Yeah. Who was he playing with on the left-hand side?
Mount,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't see Mason.
On the right side.
I didn't see anybody on the left-hand side.
Chance, Mason Mount and Chilwell linked up to play Chilwell through.
Yeah.
Mason Mount played the through ball for Chilwell.
True, yeah.
I think Mount was more on the left side today still.
Yeah.
Right.
Half a little bit less because he drifted more, because he was more playing as a central 10. Then in the first, he was more fully, because in the first half it was more of a 3-4-2-1. When the second, it was more of a 3-4-1-2. Even though that's weird with Ziyech personally, but it is what it is. But anyways,
so I didn't see anybody for him to link up on to have any offensive play down the left-hand side, because I didn't see anybody. The only person I saw drift over there was Giroud. And you're not playing Giroud with a through ball to get around a defender, right? That's not going to happen. Doesn't have the pace. I think he tried one time, and Giroud looked at him like, "You're playing the ball to me. Don't play it a through ball. Play it to my feet." So, I think after the substitutions were made, he played a lot better than he did before the substitutions. It's because then he had somebody to play with on that side, right? Because Ziyech was all over the field, and I think Mount was covering a lot for him.
True.
So I think pre 60 minute he was probably a 6. Post 60 minute he was an 8. So I'll say a 7.
Fair. Well, then we'll all agree on a 7. Brilliant. I mean, Miz said 6.5, but if there's 3 7s and 1 6.5, I think we have to probably go with the 7. I know, we kind of did Chilwell first there, and now we're going to get to Hudson-Odoi. But let me quickly get to the super chat saying, if Giroud scores, if Mount scores, if Ziyech scores, whoever, does that change our view of the midfield, who we, of course, both rated a 7, which I personally think is very generous anyway. So I don't really know where that... Obviously, we spoke about them arguably more negatively than we've rated them. But yeah, of course, we would have rated them a bit higher had we scored, because that means we win. And that means the overall team performance was better. Of course, it wasn't their fault that Ziyech doesn't score the chance. Of course it is. We'll get into the forwards ratings in a second. But still, I don't think you can really complain with 7s as a rating for a 0-0 draw. So I appreciate the donation, but I don't necessarily know what you're trying to tell me. But anyways, let's get to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Melinda then continued what you said, and he said it's not just because of injuries, so maybe it was better to take him off, but he probably could have played on if he felt necessary. So maybe it was a bit of a mix. But in terms of Hudson-Odoi, I'm not sure with Witness whether I agree he was a best player going forward in the first half. He was certainly one of them, and he played 2 good crosses. Obviously, the one for Giroud and one other one that we sadly didn't, get anyone on the end of either. And we didn't quite use him enough. He had a lot of communication issues with Aspie. There was a lot of communication issues on the pitch full stop today, particularly around Kante. There was a lot of moments where Kante and someone couldn't decide who takes the ball. I don't know why that kept happening with Kante. I know he's quiet, but then the other guy just needs to make the decision then. Like, do you know what I mean? But also with Rudiger and Chilwell, that was 1 or 2 where they just didn't talk to each other, apparently. Aspie and Reece James as well. But anyways, Callum Hudson-Odoi, good. I don't understand the substitution if it wasn't because of injury. I still think I kind of agree with Jared now that we keep going up the pitch. We're probably rating them slightly too highly. But in terms of compared to other performances, I would probably have to give Callum a 7 as well. Because you can't really rate him less just because he played only one half, I would say. But let me go with Jared first this time because you went last for the last one. What would you say about Callum?
First, let me start this off by saying I don't rate Callum as highly as everybody else does as a talent. Okay, so I'm not the type of this person that says, well, they came out of Cobham, they have to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's not me. Okay. I think
I don't understand that saying. Sliced bread ain't even that great. Just means it goes bad quicker. But anyways.
Well, it was because it was easier. You didn't. Okay. I don't know. It's an old saying, right?
Yeah, no.
I think part of the tactical issues with him was he was playing too high up too high up when we were on defense. And he was not giving Aspie the out he needed on that side. I think that was one of the issues Tuchel was having with him. Okay, whether that was the reason he came off or not, I don't know. He had a good cross for Giroud.
Yep.
But that's all I remember.
Yeah.
That's all I remember him doing.
You could argue that's more than any other forward player out of the Mount, though.
Well, I didn't think Mount had a good game either. So
we'll get to that, man. He at least had that one run, so that's.
And if you only play 45 minutes, can you get more than an average score?
I think you can at least score him for the 45, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really up to him.
You just rate him for what he did while he was on, kind of thing.
See, all these ratings are way too high. I guess if we gave Chilwell a 7, we'll have to give him a 7, but.
Yeah.
All these ratings are way too high for a draw.
I will say this in terms of what you said for defensive shape. I don't even 100% disagree that he was too high at times. Not even just in terms of helping Aspie, but in terms of being an outlet to be passed to. Right. But we also have to say that Man United had many more chances in the second half than they did in the first half. So can really Hudson-Odoi have been that bad defensively? Because Man United didn't have a single chance of a free kick in the first half.
Well, I didn't say he was bad defensively. I said he wasn't there for the out ball. He was playing more as a winger than he was a wing back. He was playing a little bit too high up the pitch, but that was because Ziyech was inside with Mount. So we had to have somebody with the width, but he was, if you're going to give, we're giving 7s out like candy. So.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. For me, in a minute it's dropping.
Oh yeah.
Right, it's dropping a lot. But let me go to Bitmus. Let me go to Bitmus. What would you say about Callum? Obviously, you said in your opinion he was a best player in the first half.
He was our best wing back. Then I could say in terms of to me he looked like more confident than Chilwell in that first half when he was on the ball. He wasn't as afraid to try to push against 2-3 Manchester United players that were coming at him. He was confident going forward. But into where my friend Jester is saying about the 7s, bro, like we didn't win the game, yeah, but we also had a good game. And I think tactically it was just whether who made a mistake today, like who would have scored that first goal, because we were good. And we kept United away from goal, if we were being completely honest. They had one shot proper, and it was from way outside the box and Rashford free kick. They didn't have any inside the box moment like us with Ziyech and maybe Giroud with that diving header. So both teams played well.
They had a McTominay shot, to be fair.
Yeah, it was like McTominay. That was outside the box.
No, that was in.
It was in.
But that was the only one.
Where they passed it back on the top and it came through the crowd and Mendy saved it.
Yeah,
that was maybe just on top of the 18. It wasn't like a clear opportunity. But at the end of the day, I don't think nothing is wrong with like giving these players like 7. Like if we're giving them worse, lower than 7, that means they had an awful game which they didn't. You get me? It weren't their best, but just like Hudson-Odoi, I would give him a 6.5. I wouldn't give him a 7 because Jester did say that he was playing like a winger today, but at the end of the day, he still defended well. I think he still did a good job at the wing back, but he just hindered how Tuchel wanted to play. like in terms of the outlet, not giving Aspilicueta a lot of options yet. But I think I still would give him a 6.5 for his performance.
Fair enough.
First of all, I have to tell you how I get my score ratings. I go off of somebody y'all know very well, our good friend Nini over at Blue Lions TV. When Christian Pulisic had a perfect hat trick, he only gave him a 9. So if a perfect hat trick is only a 9, so you understand how I start rating. Okay, this guy's supposed to know his thing. He gives a perfect hat trick a 9. Then we're way too high with our score ratings.
A perfect hat trick.
No, like I agree, but we can't, like, we kind of just dug ourselves that hole now, so we have to just keep going.
No, but realistically, would you give Kante and Kovacic less than 7?
I'd probably say
would have given them 6.5 because I felt like that's still above average performance. I do understand the 7s, but I think 6.5 on a draw, I wouldn't look that up as a negative view at all.
I actually would have stayed 7 for Kante just because of what he did for defensive work, and probably a 6.5 for Kovacic, because for defensive work, he had so many interceptions in the midfield. So that's just my personal opinion. Is Kante did what Kante did, what Kante does. That's all he does. You're not looking for any real offensive. If you're expecting your offense to come through and N'Golo Kante, you're not going to do well, because that's not his game. His game is to break up play, get turnovers, and start the counter. That's it.
This is where I have a bit of an issue with the whole Kante situation. I know we digress a little bit, but we need to see how we play as our style of football. We're not playing based on Kante's strengths only, that the whole team plays this way because Kante is favorite to play in that manner. We play in a way where we hold the ball, we try, and the double sixes are meant to be controlling the midfield, moving the ball around, finding the passes to the inside forwards who then create opportunities. We can't solely sit here and say, oh, but Kante just did what Kante does. I don't think that's good enough, because that's not what the team is set out to do. I appreciate what Kante does, don't get me wrong. I appreciate what Kante does. I don't think that is his only thing to do for the style of football that we play.
Yeah, but Miz, I'm sorry. Kante has not been in the team for the last few games. He's just getting in back. So I think we have to give him some time also, because of course, because this is the team that we're going to, well, not the team, the midfield too, we're going to use against Atletico, because Jorginho won't play. So I think it's smart as well from the manager putting these two together to have them get some form of, playing time, so they know how to work around each other when it comes to the Atletico game. So Kante just coming back from injury, getting back into the team now, playing 90 minutes. I think it only can get better for him to get himself accustomed to the style of play that Tuchel is expecting. Because if we are gonna say, look at Kante when he just came at Chelsea, he's not the same player in terms of passing. His technical ability on the ball has improved since under Maurizio Sarri. So I think it's just time to get him to relax again, and he'll look much better. Not saying he'll do a better job than Jorginho when passing and looking for the right option, but he might do enough then compared to now.
Yeah, as I said, man, I think Kante, I agreed with everyone that he had a good game. But if we're going to give Kante, let's say, going back to the point of, if we're going to give him a 7 as opposed to 6.5, but then give Kovacic a 6.5. I think we're being biased, right? We're not looking at it as a double six, who predominantly should have the same sort of attributes in terms of how we play the style of football. We shouldn't be looking at Kovacic should produce more up front, and Kante should be, the double sixes sort of work together. That's how I look at it in our system.
Yeah, but those two don't work together. That's why they shouldn't play together. So that's neither here nor there. We're going to be here till midnight if we don't.
It's an endless debate, because you're never going to you're always going to have the guys that back Kante for the defensive side of the game, which is fully valid. And then you have the fair point that Miz made, obviously, but we don't play that we need Kante. But then can you play him Kante? He's not picking himself. So he plays what he can do. And then should we discredit him too much for doing certain things wrong? I will say yes, because people always discredit Jorginho because when he gets beaten for pace, when he gets beaten defensively, I'm like, yeah, but that's not what he's good at. So why don't we criticize Kante for what he's not good at? So because of that, I do agree with it. I do still think, probably Kova and Kante, we could have both given them a 6.5 rather than a 7. But hey, here we are now. Callum Hudson-Odoi, have we rated him yet? We have. We were like between a 6.5 and a 7. I think 2 of us said 7, 2 of us said 6.5. I do, like we touched on at the very beginning, and why I wanted to give the defenders such high ratings, because we were defensively better. Chilwell worked more defensively than Callum did, even though Callum was good going forward. It's not like we created hundreds of chances or dozens of chances. So whoever said 6.5, I will sway towards that. And then we get to Mason Mount, which seems to be an interesting conversation, because I thought, again, he was one of our better players. I won't lie. Obviously not in terms of like the centre-back's good, don't get me wrong. But he was the only guy on the pitch who I felt like, you might do something. Obviously he had that run. Yeah, lovely backheel flick from Ziyech. Fair enough. All right. But it's a backheel flick. Let's not go crazy. And he should have shot with the first step on his left foot after he cut it back on himself. Then when he did shoot, he shouldn't have shot with his right. It's all true. These are all factual statements. But he's the only guy that I see properly pressing, especially when our front three was Ziyech, Mount, and Giroud. Giroud is the most press-incapable player that's ever existed at Chelsea Football Club. Like, how he fouled Maguire there is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. You run after him, take half a minute to get there in the first place, and then you foul him. I was fuming. Anyway, Mount is the only guy that actually applies pressure when neither Werner or Pulisic play. So that has to already, if we say, Kante was so great defensively, the pressing is part of how we defend. So that already gives Mount higher ratings. Not higher than Kante, is not what I'm saying, but in terms of higher than just his attacking play. For attacking, I would probably give him a 6, because I don't think any of our attacking players should get much higher than a 6. Plus the other thing, so I would end up at a 7. But I will give you guys free right now, and if you kill me with that, then hey, we'll have to drop him a bit. But Bitmus, are we giving out another 7 like Candy, or are we going lower?
As you said, we are here now, so it's hard not to give him a 7, because yes, I agree with you. He should have done better in those situations that you just called out, because that is Mason Mount's biggest problem. He doesn't have end problem. He doesn't have end product. I should say end product. He doesn't have it, and that's something will come to him in as time goes by. As we I have a friend. He says Mason wants to eat more than how he feeds, which is true, because he goes for himself more than how he's playing in a role where he should assist. Not saying he can't score or take a shot, but there are areas where he could have made one simple pass, or even when he cut back on his foot there, he could have looked for a pass inside the box for a tap-in or something. But
I don't think actually there was anybody there, but in general, I agree.
There wasn't really an option, but in other games, he would have shoot either way. He doesn't really look out for his teammates as much as he should, but his press is very good. When we don't have the ball, he does excellent work. So just like Kante, he doesn't pass the ball well as Jorginho would do, but defensively, he did his job, breaking up play, etc. So I would give him a 7 as well. Yeah. I
think to name him in the same vein as Kante in terms of how bad they are attacking is very harsh. We have some stats at the bottom at 70 touches, which for very high up the pitch players, not that bad actually. 7 duels won, 5 ball recoveries, 4 touches in the opposition box, 4 fouls won, most of them ridiculous fouls. 3 crosses, 3 shots, 2 interceptions, 2 take-ons, 1 chance created. A good performance. Like I said, I'm going to stick with the 7, and Bitmus hasn't disagreed. So, let me see what Jared has to say.
Well, first we have to define what he's on the pitch to do.
Yeah.
He's on the pitch to put the ball in the back of the net or help put the ball in the back of the net. And I know he's a fan favorite. I said last year that he was our best academy product.
Ever?
No, had the potential of the current group that we were talking about. Everybody said, no, it's Callum. I said, nope, it's Mount. But he's played a lot of minutes this year, and we've not scored that many goals. And if you're saying he's the key guy to get us goals, and we're not putting the ball in the back of the net,
No.
at some point we have to say, it's great that you run around, it's great that you press, but if you're there to put the ball in the back of the net or help put the ball in the back of the net, and we're not doing that, then you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No,
to me,
yeah, go on.
he's playing as a creative player, as an attacking player. He's there to score. Didn't do that.
I totally see where you're coming from in that. The argument and the counter argument that even if you had this conversation with Tuchel or even Frank, I mean, Frank played him high, deeper on the pitch, so it's a little bit less of an argument. But in terms of what Tuchel will say is, well, the way we play with a counter press, to make the whole system work, you need the attacking players, not only to create and score, but also to do what Mount does. And then that's where eventually when Havertz is fully fit and form hits and everything, that's when that will be tricky unless we change shape and both fit. But because Havertz will be the guy that does actually the creating and the scoring and the assisting, but he will never ever in his life have the work rate of Mason Mount. And it will always be a crucial part. And I've said this before, you need a few players that do the hard work. I'm not saying everyone needs to be like it, but you need a few of them. And we don't have a lot of them. And that's why Mason Mount starts every game, because we don't have enough other players to do what he does. And
he should have been playing with Kovacic or Conte today.
I don't disagree. But there's also the moments where Mount does create and, does score. He scored our winner, obviously, against Sheffield United. So let's not say like he does nothing. And obviously, his corner deliveries are better than we've had for the last 5 years. Not just now we don't have two wins.
Very much.
No, it doesn't. But still, even in terms of consistency, yeah, okay, Christensen and Rudiger don't get at the end of them, but that's more their fault than Mount's fault. I still think a 7 overall in terms of, because being an attacking player or not is all well and good. It's a team sport and everyone has to do their thing. It's like, when Tammy cleared the ball off the line, he's a striker against Barnsley, that is. He's a striker, but he still did that. So it still has to account for something. And that's in a similar vein, for me personally, it is for that it's in a similar vein with Mason Mount for me. But what rating would you give him, Jared?
I'll give him a 6.5.
Okay. Miz, what about yourself?
Jess has been tough, man. Jess is really, really tough on some of this. Look, I get your point, but here's my counter argument. The goals and assists and all of that stuff don't materialize without all the hard work that goes behind it, right? So completely understand that Mason, I think Mason himself has mentioned it many times in the last few weeks. Thomas Tuchel has said that he wants to be a lot more clinical in the final third. He wants to be. That's what he needs to do. He understands that is his predominant role. But what Laurenz said, I have to agree. Once again, in this match, I've seen him press so well. When we talk about defending from the front, he presses well. He wins the ball back. We can't take these sort of intangibles away from the game. We can't just be like looking at goals and assists. Yes, they are important, but winning the ball back is so important. If you don't win the ball back, you can't create the goals and the assists. Counter-pressing, when you do lose the ball, how to win the ball back quickly. Mount does that. The energy, you can't have players like Ziyech, too many of them in the field where the energy is not that good enough. You need players like Mason Mount who runs around a lot. I know a lot of people say, oh, what good is it if you're just going to run around? I don't think Mace just runs around like an idiot. There's purpose to his running, I feel. So there's a lot of intangibles that we're not taking into consideration here for Mason Mount that he does. And this is the reason why Frank Lampard has played him, why Thomas Tuchel now has been playing him on a regular basis. He's benching the likes of Ziyech, Pulisic, and Havertz. This is who we're talking about, Mason Mount, because those players are not giving everything that Mount is giving. Yes, Mount needs to improve in the final third. He has had the opportunities, but I believe he will improve because that goal against Spurs, we know he's got that. He has that ability to score with his left foot. He has that ability to find that pass that he found for Callum Hudson-Odoi in the Champions League against Rennes, I believe. So we know he has that. So for me, he was probably one of the most attacking output for us with Callum Hudson-Odoi in the first half in a 0-0 draw. Besides him, I really didn't see anyone else producing any sort of attacking sort of impetus. So for me, Laurenz, it has to be a 7 to the least, if I'm being honest about it.
Yeah, no, I think in the end, let's go for the 7 then, because I think to push it more, obviously in the end, Jared obviously says 6.5, so we have to kind of agree on the 7 anyway. But even then, I still think he or the team didn't quite do enough to mention that. But Real Reasons makes an argument there. If an attacking player, all they have to do is create, then why is Mesut the best player ever? Because that's all he did. And still, he was always criticized for not doing anything else. So that's part of it. But Vitmus, you raised your hand, you wanted to say something else.
Just to add to what Miz said, a lot of people, because I've been over on Lewis' channel earlier, and a lot of people are saying like they want Havertz to play today instead of Mount. But Havertz would have not given that defensive work that Mount gave us today, and we probably would have lost the game by a goal, just based on the fact that Havertz would not press the Manchester United front arm back line, or like how well he made it so hard for Wan-Bissaka and Mason Greenwood to get into the game, because he was there helping wherever needed to press them on that side of the field. So I think what Tuchel did today was the only thing I could like cross him out for today is playing Giroud. I think he made the right option to use a more creative player alongside Mason Mount, which was in Hakim Ziyech, to try to get that creativity up front. But I think we needed a more pacey striker today, and Timo Werner would have probably given us a better output going, getting in behind the defense of Manchester United. As we know, Harry Maguire is not that fast, or Lindelof either. So I think he did the right when he played Ziyech with Mount up front today, to give that creativity that Mount lacks. Mount gives you the work rate, and then he can get you a goal, he can get you assists, but it's not the main part of his game at this moment. So
yeah,
that's what I wanted to add.
With that, I guess let's get to Hakim Ziyech. And hey, a lot of the comments are going strongly against what I have to say right now, because that first half by Hakim Ziyech gets no more than a 2. He was absolutely dreadful. The guy's meant to be this technical player. He can't control the ball. The amount of time he receives the ball when he drops deep, and he doesn't do it enough anyway to help us build, and he drops deep, his touch pounces the ball away as if he's bloody Lukaku, and about 5 yards from him, loses it every time we get hit on the counter break. I'm fuming every time. And he was better in the second half, granted, but he shouldn't have even been on the pitch in the second half after that first half. He was so bad. Yeah. Like, it was close to as bad as it was against Barnsley. He was really, really bad, in my opinion. And I don't get why people are saying Ziyech 6, Ziyech 7, Ziyech 8. Maybe some of you guys are Moroccan. But other than that, I've no good explanation for why you'd be giving ratings out like that. He was dreadful. Like, what the criticism that Jared had of Mount. Go for Ziyech even more, because Ziyech doesn't give us the pressing, the work rate. Ziyech, if anything, half the time is a little bit lazy. And he didn't create nothing. Like, he tried a few through balls. Every time he had a misunderstanding with Hudson-Odoi when he tried it, Hudson-Odoi was running inside, but Tuchel is on the sideline, always standing, shouting diagonal runs. Ziyech plays that ball out wide. And when the one over-the-top ball from the second half he tried for Pulisic, that didn't come off either. The only really good ball he played today was the back heel to Mount. So
he had the shot.
He had the shot, true. And I did say that on Blues Fans TV earlier as well. He did have 2 or 3 shots. 2 of them got blocked very well, but you have to give credit. Also, it was good blocks. And 1 shot, okay, was a comfortable save for De Gea in the end. But at least he tried. And I do respect him for that. But I also think, I know how good he is at shooting. We know how good he is at shooting from when he played with Ajax against us. And the fact that half the time when he shoots, he can't get the ball off the ground pisses me off a lot.
I'm talking about the one in the box that De Gea got a hand to, that he should have put away.
Oh, yeah, okay. That is true. He had that, but if anything, that drops rating, because if you're 8 yards out and you can't score, like, yeah. No. Anyway.
In his defense, I think it was a brilliant save, because he put De Gea was kicking across his line, coming to his left, and Ziyech put it. It's always preferred to put the ball back where the goalkeeper is coming from, and I think he did that, but Dea was just lucky to get a hand to it. Like, his reflex was good in that situation. But maybe if he had placed it more to the post, probably he would have scored or it would have hit one of the United players because they were also in front of him. So I think we just have to give the goalkeeper credit in that situation.
I think, yes, give De Gea credit for sure, but also in that position, you have to take a finish that there is not even a chance for the goalkeeper to make a great save.
Yeah.
Don't even allow him that chance. The goal is much bigger than the goalkeeper, so you'll find a spot.
Yeah, but in his defense, there were like 2 or 3 Manchester United players in front of the shot that went through both of them. It wasn't like a clear, like he just had that and just shoots. People were in front of him. Even a Chelsea player, I think, was in front of him as well.
Yeah, but not between him and the goal.
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe we have to look back at it, but it was a good save. But
Between him and where he received the ball, you're right. But still, he has to score that. Like, especially when you're on the bad run of form he is, and he gets that game, and he stays on the pitch after a dreadful first half, and then you don't take that. It's disappointing. I'm not even... See, probably I should be more harsh on when you don't take a chance, but when you're not the goal scorer, unlike a Timo Werner, then I'm very harsh on not scoring chances. If your main job isn't to score goals, then I'm not that critical of it. I'm much more critical of a bad touch, of consistent poor passing, of misunderstandings, of laziness. That's what I'm much more critical of, and that's my issues with Ziyech in the first half. But Miz, let me know what you thought of him.
I mean, let's take away that shot scoring opportunity. I personally think, I get what you're saying, Litmus, in terms of that was a good save. It was a good save, but I'm with Laurenz that the goal is far bigger than the goalkeeper, and you know he's known for these sort of finishes. It's not like he's an up and coming youngster. He's had experience in Champions League where he's taken the likes of Real Madrid and you know many other teams, and he's absolutely destroyed them. So I expect him to finish from that range. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a massive Ziyech fan. I actually bought Ziyech's shirt just before this match started. So that just shows how much of a fan I am of Ziyech. But this match, honestly, just take away that shot. Fair, he didn't score. He did not do anything to warrant a start against Liverpool next game. I'm telling you, he gets an opportunity, and the fan base, myself, we've been screaming out, let's give this guy an opportunity. I don't think he's done enough. But then again, I do have to put a counter argument that I don't think this formation helps him, because his best is always sticking on the right side, and he generally hugs the line, and then there's no one really there to press him or attack him because he's literally on the line. And that allows him to get the ball and look up and then go for those inverted crosses or take his man on or cut in, put someone through. Him playing as an inside forward, he's always got someone behind him. So as soon as he gets the ball, he's pressed, and he's not good enough at the moment to beat that. So how much of this current formation is actually getting the best out of him, I don't know. But if I was to give a rating for this game, I don't know how you give more than 3 or a 4.
Yeah. Let me get to you, Jared. What would you make of him? I have kind of 2 ratings. Obviously, I said the first half was better second half, so I find a conclusive rating of the 2 halves. But first of all, give me your thoughts. Litmus head to head office. Link is down in the description. Check out his channel as well if you haven't already. Smash the like button, subscribe, and all the good stuff. But Jared, what did you make of Ziyech?
Well, I thought I was going to be the harsh one and give him a 5. I guess I'll give it high scores out now. Look, he said in an interview his best position is inside forward. Those were his words. So
and he played that.
So.
But in a back 3 sort of style of inside forward, or a 4-3-3 kind of style of inside forward?
A 4-3-3
Does that exist in a 4-3-3?
It's 2 wingers.
You could probably have as one of the 3s playing closer up front. The 3 in the middle, you could have one of the 3s playing. You look at the Ajax style. He was playing more of an inside forward, but Ajax played 4-3-3, where the attacking 8s, which isn't like a Frank Lampard attacking 8, one of the 8s I feel like is more of a inside forward.
Yeah. It's the same thing we've seen from him all. Yeah, it's the same thing we've seen from him all year long. Is if he doesn't have the space and the time, he's poor on the ball. And in the Premier League, you're not getting space and time on the ball. Period. End of story. He's going to have to figure that out and figure it out quick. He was our lowest pass completion today at a 77%. He only had 33 touches, so it's not like he had 150 or something like that. You know, he only had
Mind you,
33.
Mount had 70, and
Yeah.
Ziyech did still play quite long in this game. So to have that big of a difference doesn't just show in terms of how, like, you know, how good did he play overall, but also he didn't get involved enough.
Right. So, yeah, if you want to say 4, I'll go 4. I assume never see him on the pitch again. He's not impressed me at all. He's not the guy that we saw do that against us in the Champions League at all. And whether that's he hasn't played enough games, he hasn't adjusted yet, he's been injured, whatever. He has not shown me anything going, okay, except for in preseason against Brighton. Okay?
Yeah. And then he got injured in that game.
And then he got injured. So I just haven't seen it from him. And you know it's there because you've seen it against us. Maybe that's just how bad we were defensively. But I'll go 4. I'm fine with giving him 4.
Even if you look at the game that he played against us last season, the 4-4, both the times where he created havoc he was really touching the sidelines a lot. He didn't play too much sort of in the central areas. He can play that. But this is where I know we're a little bit critical about Frank Lampard, but I feel like Frank Lampard was using Hakim Ziyech properly in that sense, where I still remember against Burnley in early in the season, Hakim Ziyech was quite prominent. Newcastle, the first time we played them, Hakim Ziyech was prominent. And then obviously during the month of December, he got injured.
Even against Leeds, he was good. Against Leeds,
he was good. I'm not surprised one bit that as soon as he got injured off the back of that Leeds game, that we started to see Frank Lampard's game plan sort of disappear as well, because I feel like Frank knew how he was using Hakim Ziyech. I'm not saying Tuchel doesn't know. Tuchel has decided to play 3-4-3 for the time being. I think he's not going to sit with this next season. It won't be the back 5. He will change. And maybe then someone like Hakim Ziyech comes into play. Right now, it's very difficult.
Yeah. Even if we change to, say, a 4-3-3, I don't think Tuchel will use him as a right winger, because when Tuchel plays a 4-3-3, he wants pace in his forwards, and Ziyech doesn't have pace. And that's where it happens when you change managers, and the manager wants a player, and then it doesn't, and different managers like, yeah, he's good, but it doesn't really suit what I want to do. And that's why I said the day we appointed Tuchel, I think Ziyech is probably going to be one of the biggest losers under him. And so far, it's only proved right. And when he got the chance, he didn't take them. Like I said, my first half rate for him would be 2. My second half would probably be, I think his second half was decent until he came off. So I would probably give that 5.5, 6. So overall, I would probably agree with the 4, even though 4 sounds harsh compared to the other ratings. His first half was just so bad, I don't think we can give him any more. And with Giroud, I'm willing to go even lower. Giroud was so bad, and this is my problem with Giroud. And someone said in the chat earlier, Giroud in Champions League, Europe / the Premier League are two different things. I don't know why this is. I can't explain it necessarily, but it just is like that. Obviously, I know if he gets on the end of that cross, he scores the winner. Great. That's exactly what he did against Atletico. And I said his overall performance was no more than a 6, and then he scored the goal. But he was dreadful. He didn't hold up a ball. He was too slow. He gave, especially his second half, he tried real hard to be worse in the second half than Ziyech was in the first half. Like every single ball he got, he passed it straight to the opponent. Every single time. And like I said, it's impossible. People ask, why were we not as good in the press early on as we were when Tammy plays? Yeah, because Giroud plays. Because we don't press from high up. And yeah, we try, but he's just slow. And that's not necessarily criticism of him, because don't play him then. But that's sometimes where players and managers annoy me. I'm like, I know he scored last game, but if you don't think he suits this game, don't play him. But Solskjaer just did Tuchel. Tuchel didn't expect Solskjaer to press. And that's why we played Ziyech and Giroud. Had Tuchel known he was going to do that, he would have probably played definitely Werner, but maybe someone else. But then also, like, I can't remember which one of you guys said it earlier. Obviously, Pulisic came on and they changed it. So had we started with Werner, they might have never pressed in the first place. So I guess that's a difficult one to judge, really. But let me go with Miz for this one, and then I'll let you rattle through the subs ratings as well, because you just told me that you need to head off in a minute, and then me and Justus will finish it off here, because we've been going for an hour and a half already anyway. But Miz, what did you make out of Giroud?
Yeah, man. Look, besides that one chance where Callum Hudson-Odoi put in that cross and he was centimeters away, I don't know what else did he do. Linking up, I don't really know he's linked up that well at all in that match. And as you said, in a match where probably Tuchel didn't expect Man United to come at us, that probably wasn't the right scenario. But having said that, I think most of us, certainly me, off the back of the game he had against Atletico Madrid, in most of everyone's previews, he was starting. I had him to start. I just thought that Man United would be sitting back, and that would have been a perfect case scenario for someone like Giroud. So, someone like Tuchel maybe at halftime could have hooked him off and brought, Timo Werner on and just pushed Man United back. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly how well some of these subs were as well today. So for me, Giroud. Yeah, if we're sticking with Ziyech for a 4, probably Giroud for a 4 as well, because what else did he do besides that unlucky opportunity against Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Jared, just quickly, and then I'll let him miss through the rest.
I'm just going to say I agree. We can move on.
Fair. No, I would even push 3 and 3.5, because I think Ziyech at least had some good moments. And someone said 5 key passes. Giroud didn't have nothing other than almost getting on the end of a cross. And you could argue, being the striker that he is, maybe he should have just got on the end of the cross, and maybe we shouldn't praise him for almost, but maybe we should criticize him for not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously this is, again, and I bring this up for Jorginho sometimes, we shouldn't criticize players.
7.
No, people are mad. People are honestly crazy. People are honestly crazy. I bring this up for Jorginho sometimes. Don't criticize them for being slow. And I do still stick by that, because it's not their fault that they're slow. If anything, if their lack of pace is a problem, then they shouldn't be playing. End of story. And that's then arguably the manager's fault. So I'm not going to be too harsh on him not getting on the end of it, but the rest was just so bad, honestly. But Miz, just rattle me through the 3 subs, what you would rate them, and then you can head off.
Reece James, I don't like him as a right wing back. I know he had that one really good cross, but for me, that attacking impetus went away. Defensively, how much more did he do than what Callum Hudson-Odoi was doing? I don't think personally, and I suggest everyone look back in that game, I don't think he was that prominent in defense either, as Azpilicueta was mopping it up. So for me, Reece James off the bench, let's give him a 5. For me, he's a 5, maybe a 5.5, maybe a 5.5 because of that good cross. Besides that, he was really just going back to Azpilicueta. Pulisic, honestly, Laurenz, I don't remember him doing anything coming off the bench. So I don't really recall anything. So I'm not even sure if he deserves a rating. I don't know. Like, does he even deserve a rating? Like, how many minutes did he even have to play to get a rating? Like
26.
He got 15 to 20, to be fair. So we usually give ratings for that, but
I didn't even notice him for 20 minutes. Like, that's how crazy it is. So I don't know what, maybe another 3, another 4. Like, he didn't do anything, right? Then you have Timo Werner. I mean, should he have scored that opportunity again with Reece James's cross? I feel like this is where he needs to gamble a little bit more and really throw his body out there. Did he throw his body enough? But then again, it was a goal kick that you said as well. So maybe he did reach it. It just didn't connect. But besides that, I didn't see much from Timo Werner as well. So I'd probably give him maybe a 4.5, 5. Let's just say 5 to at least he was there to do something. And that was
Tuchel? What about Tuchel?
Thomas Tuchel, I think the starting lineup, I was a bit suspect about the double pivot, the double 6. Besides that, everything else I kind of understood. I know a lot of people were sort of umming and ahhing about Ziyech. Kind of understood. I don't think I enjoyed his in-game management today. If he took out Callum Hudson-Odoi partly because of tactical issues, partly because of injury, what was it? Are you trying to cover things up? I mean, was it really tactical? Then I'm really mad, because he was probably one of the better players at halftime. And some of the subs, like, why not bring on someone like Havertz or someone like Pulisic or Werner a lot earlier? Put the impact on the game a lot earlier. And I feel like it wasn't the best in-game management from him. This was a match, guys, I feel like we needed to win. Some of our rivals in the sense of West Ham, Leicester, they dropped points. We needed to win this. And I mean, it's not it's not doom and gloom. We got away with a draw, fine. But for Thomas Tuchel, I'll give him a 6. Yeah, I'd give him a 6.5.
Fair. I mean, just as we'll adjust maybe slightly if we disagree. But Miz, massively appreciate you hopping on after your stream on your channel, of course. Subscribe to Miz's channel. It's, the other side of the coin. The link is down in the description below. Just click his @ and we take you straight to his channel. Subscribe to him. Again, massively appreciate you coming on. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Absolutely, man. Really enjoyed being here. And hopefully I'll see you soon in my channel. And to everyone in the live chat, smash that like button. You guys got almost, 90 people. Get that likes up to at least 80, please. Help Laurenz's channel out. Until next time, guys. See ya.
Take care, bro. So, Jared, Jester, what are we saying for the last few ratings? Giroud, we got on already. We touched on already.
If you want to say 3.5, I'm not going to argue.
Okay. Reece James, he said 5.5 to 5. I already put it down to a 5.
I thought he was a 6. I thought the second half, our offense looked a lot better after we made all the subs. When Giroud came off, when Ziyech came off, we looked like we were going to get a winner. But
I'm not sure because other than the 2 moments for Werner, the one shot that was a comfortable save for De Gea at the near post and the cross from Reece, did we have any chances after that? Correct me
really.
if I'm wrong.
I thought we played a lot better. Let me put it this way. I thought offensively we looked better when Giroud and Ziyech came off.
Don't you think it was just a Manchester United kind of tactical change that when we had Giroud on, they pushed a bit higher with the whole line because they knew we didn't have the face to attack them really in behind, especially with Ziyech and Mount around him. And then once we brought Pulisic on for him, which in my opinion was actually a good move by Tuchel, but Manchester United just adapted to it really quickly, really swiftly, and just dropped 20 yards deeper. And that made Pulisic's pace completely useless and almost Werner's as well. And that's why I think we seemed better because they sat deeper, but we didn't get any closer to scoring, in my opinion. But hey, if you have a different opinion, that's fair.
No, I just thought we looked better. Maybe it was because of the space, but those changes made that happen, right? They don't sit back if those players don't come on. So I thought we just looked more fluid because we had more pace on the field. There was too many. You can't play Mount and Giroud together if Mount and Giroud and Ziyech are the attacking 3.
Yeah.
Because Mount lacks pace as well. He's not the quickest.
Oh, yeah, but you saw that run though. He's not that slow.
I didn't say he was slow. He's not that quick. If you're talking about
quicker than Ziyech, to be fair, I still think he's quite a bit faster than him. But no, you're right. I fully agree. That's not a front 3 that I would like to see when we have space, and that's why I just think Solskjaer just adapted to what Tuchel set out, and that's why it didn't quite click. But yeah, you said 6. Miz said 5 to 5.5. I would probably say 5. So I guess we meet in the middle at 5.5. And then for Pulisic, obviously Miz said, can you even rate him? Otherwise, he said 3 to 4. I think that's a bit harsh. I would probably give him a 5 because, again, didn't really see much, but also didn't do anything wrong. Unlike Ziyech and Giroud, who did things wrong. So, I started at 5, and then if you do things wrong, I deduct points, and if you do things right, I add points.
I think he had 1 shot.
Yeah. Did he? I don't even remember.
Yeah, he drove the ball almost like Mount, but he was getting closed down, and he shot and put over the bar.
Okay, fair.
So I'm not going to argue. It's hard to rate subs. So if you want to say 5, I won't argue that point.
Okay. And to be honest, Werner, I would say had a bit more of an impact than Pulisic. So I would probably push him to a 5.5 maybe. Just because I saw a bit more of an impact, even though he obviously should have done a bit better to get on the end of that one cross. Whether he touched it or not doesn't really matter in my opinion.
He did. Yeah, he didn't. It hit Lindelof's foot and went out.
Yeah, exactly. And it should have been a corner. That's what I thought as well. But he should have touched it because he has the pace to get on the end of these, and he doesn't end up getting on the end of these, and it's a consistent issue. But I still would say a little bit more than Pulisic, just because I saw more from him. Would you agree with that, or would you go with this?
I'm not gonna argue with that.
Fair enough. And then in terms of Tuchel, I do agree with all of the things that Miz said in terms of the subs were a bit weird. Some of them, especially if the Hudson-Odoi wasn't down to injury, I don't understand it. I know you said you wanted more security down the right-hand side. Fair. But then you can take Hudson-Odoi off the right wing back, but don't take him off the pitch, in my opinion. Like, that is still a valid option. And I don't think Ziyech was good enough in the first half to stay on the pitch if it wasn't for an injury over Hudson-Odoi. So I disagree with that. I think he got he got slightly tactically beat by Solskjaer. That Solskjaer was like, okay, if you're going to play with those types of players, I'm going to attack you a bit more. If you're going to play with a bit more pace, I'm going to sit a bit deeper. And you don't find a way either way. And frankly, I expect a manager of his ability to find the way, regardless of what Ole Gunnar bloody Solskjaer does.
I agree with that. The only thing I could fault him for is the starting attacking three.
Yeah.
Because you could have, me personally, the lineup I would have put out today would have been Havertz as striker, Pulisic, and Ziyech. That's because then you have your tall threat still in the box because Havertz is very good with his head.
Mm-hmm.
And he can drop and be a false nine. And then the two center backs have nobody to cover. Who are they going to cover? If you have Giroud on the pitch, those two can take Giroud out. If you have no forward or no striker, they have to then come out and either take Pulisic or Ziyech. Who's not fit?
Yeah,
that's
Flyer's point. We don't know if Havertz is fit to start a game.
If you're on the bench, you're fit to start. If you're not,
I disagree with that.
If you're not fit to start, don't be on the bench.
Yeah, but right? How can you bring someone back from an injury ever then?
I understand it, but his injury's been how long?
No, not in his case, but in terms of in general, you don't necessarily need to, especially now that we have 9 subs, not just 7 as usual. Even though we only are allowed to make 3, we have still 9 spots on the bench.
Well, if you're saying fit as he's not match fit, as in he can't play the entire 90 because he doesn't have the cardio right now. That's one thing.
Yeah.
If he's injured, then why is it? Because he was warming up.
Oh yeah, no. I meant in terms of
so
can't play a full 90, doesn't have the cardio, doesn't maybe have quite the strength to deal with defenders for longer than say 45 or something.
Right. I still would have.
Yeah.
My point is always, once you get your goal, you can always haul him off, right? If he's not fit at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well get that goal, get ahead, and then worry about if he's fit enough to come off at 60 or 45.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in the cup games. You put your strong team out there, get your goal, get the win, and then put all the youth on.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I would have started Kai Havertz as well if he is fit to do so. My problem is, and I know you don't fully agree with it, but I think how the rest of the team play, I don't think Mount can be dropped right now because I think he's the only one that adds some intensity to our play other than like a bit of Kante defending. I think to get some intensity in there, which I think in especially big games you need sometimes against when we played Sheffield United, even though I know he scored the winner, but okay, maybe they're a bad example. But say in Newcastle, I don't think Mount is 100% required against Newcastle. But in big games, I think someone like Mount is important to have in a team, and I still don't know fully how I can play them together. But if I ignore that part, my idea would be Havertz as kind of this false 9-10 mix, have Werner off to his left, and have either Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi off to his right. That would be my ideal kind of like front 3 mix if we have to play a back 3, which I don't want to anyway.
Well, I think we have to because we don't have a holding 6. That's the reason. That's the reason why we're playing a back 3, and plus center backs are better in a back 3, as you saw. Christensen's better in a back 3. Rudiger's better in a back 3. Of course, Dave can't play in a back 2. He has to play in a back 3. He's too short.
Yeah, just Zuma is better in a back 2 actually.
And Thiago doesn't matter. He's just good.
Exactly. It's a weird one anyway, because Christensen has been so good. Obviously, when Thiago is back, he will come in to replace him, but it will be harsh.
It will be harsh, unless you're going to say Christensen plays where where Dave's playing, because I don't think you could take Rudiger off either for what he does.
No, I agree.
So I mean, I'm okay with.
Wouldn't be as good as a left centre back as Rudiger is.
Right. I don't know how he is with his left foot, and Rudiger has some with his left foot, but he played some nice diagonal balls today to Reece James, and I think maybe he did a couple to Callum, but I know I saw a couple from him to Reece James. I mean, right on the chest, and they're not way high in the air. They have some pace on them, so the defense doesn't have time to get back and get set up. So
for sure. So
but
guys,
we're
sorry, finish your point.
No, Tuchel 6. That's fine. That's fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's somewhat reasonable. I don't think we should go higher than that. He didn't do everything wrong, clearly. Like, a clean sheet is, for a manager, is still an important part, and he's not to blame for Ziyech not taking the chance that would have won us the game.
Right.
So, I think that's that in the end. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very, very long stream. It just happens when I end up having 4 people on, and every rating just takes a minute. It just be like that. But hey, we move. I really do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in today. Really appreciate Jesters for hopping on such short notice after obviously Pice had to cancel, obviously last minute kind of thing. Appreciate it, bro. Obviously,
anytime.
Definitely have you on again soon in the future. But yeah. Yep. Everyone that's watched, appreciate it a lot. Check out, obviously, Miz and Vitmus down in the comment section below. I don't know, do you want to be checked out anywhere, Jesters, or do you just enjoy to be a part of this?
No, I'm like a shadow. I'm good being a shadow.
Good. But fair. Brilliant. But again, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. It's upwards and onwards. Hey, let's hope we can get the dub against Liverpool on Thursday, who are 2-0 up, just finished 2-0 against Sheffield United by Sheffield United. Doesn't mean we can't beat them. Let's hope we can. Would be big. Let's not get another 0-0 draw. Can't be bothered with that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, and I'll see you